So what I want to try this time, because I know we've practiced some like exercises to calm down and try to like slow your breath and relax. But sometimes we kind of have to do the opposite of learning to tolerate the feelings of anxiety. So what we want to do is train your brain to understand that anxiety is maybe uncomfortable, but it's not dangerous. So what we're going to do is practice what we call interoceptive exposure. And it's not dangerous, but it brings on the sensation similar to what it feels like to experience panic or high anxiety. And we're just going to feel what that feels like. And then just play with a little bit versus what you're currently doing, which is very common, is trying to run from it. Like, oh no, I can't feel this. This is dangerous to feel this. And then that keeps the cycle going. Okay.
Mhm.
So one exercise, and I know last week we talked about you getting this panic workbook for teens. So I know you said that it's on its way with Amazon. So hopefully you'll bring it next session and then you'll get a little more background. But one of the top exercises that we play with and that you're going to see in the book is hyperventilating or over breathing. And this is from what you're describing about the way anxiety shows up for you, that like it's hard for you to think clearly, and it almost feels like you can't get a good breath, and everything feels a little detached and weird. This might be a way that we could practice having these feelings. So we're going to do this together. Um, we're going to hyperventilate for 1 minute, and it might be a little less, it might be a little more. And I'm going to do it with you. Basically, picture a dog, pictured like panting, like breathing really fast. We're going to want it to be really loud. So it's going to be like, okay, so starting now. Good job. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. I don't really hear you, so I want to make sure I hear it. Okay, keep going. Can you even be louder? Good, good, good. Like 10 more seconds. Okay, so now I want you to stand up. Just stand up. Okay, and like hop on one foot. What is tell me a little bit about Freud.
Freud, he had thought there was the ego, the super ego, and the id.
Recording something?
He thought the development stages were psychosexual stages. There's oral fixation.
Okay, okay. Okay,
There
good job.
was
Okay, time out. So
what?
okay, time out. Good
Okay.
job. So how did you feel like what does your head feel like after hyperventilating? Like what
I feel
what
like
did you notice?
yeah, I definitely feel more lightheaded. It feels like my brain's like pulsing towards the back. I
Yeah.
just feel like
Uh-huh.
yeah, and I feel like yeah, just like my heart is pounding a lot. And just like I feel like yeah, more lightheaded.
Lightheaded. Yeah, I was just thinking what I was feeling. I felt kind of like tingly and off,
Yeah.
like the ground under me didn't feel super solid. Like I felt a little you use the word detached, but a little bit more loose versus grounded. So
Yeah.
0 to 10, how similar are those sensations to any of the feelings that you feel when you're feeling anxious or stressed when you're sitting taking a test?
Well, I feel like physically it feels pretty similar. I think like the only thing is like I don't feel as much of like the thoughts will run through my head of like, oh my god, I don't know, is there I'm doing this again. Like I'm just like shutting down. I don't like but the physical symptoms do feel honestly pretty similar without the emotional part.
Yeah. So it sounds like, and just 0 to 10, the physical sensations of when you're on anxiety.
Maybe like as similar to maybe like a 7 or an 8.
Got it. And then what I'm hearing you say is the sensation is the same, but actually how afraid you are. Like, oh no, I'm having these feelings, and oh no, now I can't think clearly. That was low. So 0 to 10, how afraid in that moment were you of those sensations?
I think well, I think when I was starting to talk about Freud, that's where I got more like the closest to thinking about that. Maybe like a 5 or a 6.
Okay. Okay. And so the reason we do these exposures is we're trying to teach your brain that it could have those feelings and it's uncomfortable. Like I was uncomfortable. It's not fun, but it's also not dangerous. And actually, like you were on one foot, you were jumping, and you were telling me about the material from the class. So it's not going to take just one session, but one moment. But for homework, I want you to practice like twice a day, kind of hyperventilating. So bringing on like a weird feeling, and then in the morning after and end of day, and then try to do one exercise for that class. So for that psych class. And so tell me, because I know it sounds a little wacky, this assignment. Like why am I asking you to do this? What is the point of this?
I feel like it's because the more I get used to the feeling when it starts happening in the test, I won't feel as freaked out about it and
Okay.
feel like okay, like studying for a test, like I study for the anxiety feelings of it.
And say you felt less freaked out. So say you were taking a test and all of a sudden your head felt weird and your breathing felt different. What and if you weren't freaked out about it, what do you think could happen next if you
Um,
had weird feelings?
maybe maybe if I knew that they were coming and I felt like I know they'll pass, I can maybe instead of trying to I can maybe give myself a minute to be able to feel it and then move on versus just trying to like stop. I think I normally try to stop it before it happens. And then if I just kind of let it happen and just kind of give myself a little bit of time, which I think will save me time in the end because I've spent so much time just worrying about what I'm feeling. Then maybe that can be easier to get back to focusing once I like let those